Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is round 3 of the Columbus OP Cup. First of all, we're going to give a big shout out to Heroes and Games Store, Doug Sims, and the Convention Center for, of course, having us here today, running this wonderful tournament. And, of course, again, in this round 3 action, I have Tyler with me, providing some amazing strategic advantages.
Hey everybody, alrighty, on this game we got the War of the Cosmic Beings with Beyonder versus Beyonder, and technically some babies fighting each other too, so it's a battle of the infants at the same time.
So as they set up, we have Charlie on the bottom with Beyonder, Jane Porter, X-Babies, X-Man in Reserve, Team Overpower, and the Hellcarrier. And of course, on the top of your screen, you have Jessica, one of the new up-and-comers in the game, White Queen, Beyonder, X-Babies, Magneto, Age of Apocalypse, looking like she's taken a page out of her father's book in this grand scheme. Let's see how this game turns out.
Yeah, I guess that's family deck at this point now, so it's been passed down through the generations, so that's great.
Now, of course, Charlie getting 2 early discards here is definitely going to be an early advantage for Jessica. Let's see if she can take advantage of that early swing her way. A lot of placing out, a lot of just sort of getting the war chests in place. A lot of big cards on Jessica's side. 8, 7, and a 6, of course, on Charlie's side. An 8 and a negate, 2 things you always want to have in your first hand.
The other thing that I personally don't like about the setup that Charlie's done here is placing a 1 intellect power card when you have a 6. Now, taking this, the 6 is not the worst case scenario, but as a general strategy, if you've got low power cards, try to avoid placing other similar icons so that they know they can't just take 1, especially if that ally were intellect. They'd be able to just easily take the 3 and the 1, and basically they don't do anything. So on the same character, that is. In this case, it's not horrible. He probably only has one in the deck, so he's looking at just avoiding the duplicate, which is fine.
Now, of course, Jessica, looking across the table, could have actually looked at those 2 colors in that 1 and maybe taken bigger advantage in that first hand, but willing to just take the 2 venture very easily. And of course, Charlie conceded right towards her. Now, Jessica pulling the KO event in the second round. Big event, as everybody knows, with that deck. And of course, KOing the X-Babies across the board, also KOing the X-Babies. Now we will see which deck has more gumption at this point in time.
Yeah, what's interesting about this, it looks like it's Jessica's turn to do more of the cards, but the dynamic when you have 2 Beyonder decks is who can survive the second KO event more efficiently than the first. And that's what's going to be interesting with Charlie's deck, is that normally he's used to having Beyonder, Jane, and X-Man left. He's going to be down probably, I would say, Jane next. So if that's the case, then which will leave him with X-Man and Beyonder, which still only gives him 1 target for his avoid discard, which is, I'm assuming, the point of the deck that he's using right now.
And of course, in both situations, if they were to KO down to their last 2 characters, you can imagine on the other side, Jessica would KO down to Magneto. Now, of course, making Beyonder a very, very svelte 8-3-2 himself, or 8-2-3, sorry. So, of course, probably advantage falling to Charlie after that second KO event based off stats and characters remaining.
Yeah, that's a big issue with kind of both characters to some degree, but it's definitely worse on Magneto, where even finding a multi-power teamwork follow-up is rough when you've got a 1 and a 2 on your stats.
So here we can see this is a big round. Both of them really wanting to get this second round under their belt. Jessica looking to put 4 in at the top, using, of course, a Nick Fury avoid energy icon, draw a card, drawing, sadly, a duplicate Little Colossus. Should have known that this was the follow-up coming up from that 4. That is a classic string of ally 4, make an additional JW into power card follow-up.
So I'm going to let all the newbies in on a big secret to play against JWs, which is you always take the 3. So in this case, it would give them 2 colors, so maybe defend the 3 combat. But generally, you don't ever want the 3 that the JW itself is to be the color that will KO your character. Because you can let those 3 stack up all day, and as long as they don't do any damage, you just only have to worry about defending 1 card after that.
Great strategic thoughts, Ty. And of course, as you can see, volleying attacks back and forth. Teamwork, of course, with an X-Man follow-up power card right from X-Man himself. Great visual cue. Oh no, returns it back and goes for the big Dark Phoenix 8th swing.
And he's got a Street Profit for it. I'm curious as to why the
Avoid power card.
Why Charlie ended up using that Nick Fury Avoid. Like, she is playing an energy deck, and I feel like he could have got a lot more value other than that 4. And I would, if I wasn't going to take the intellect against White Queen, because against JW characters, you're going to have to take something. Something will punch through eventually. So if that's the case, I would always make the choice of choosing intellect with energy as a secondary one to make them cumulative KO with high cards.
And of course, Charlie also holding what looks like a Black Widow in his hand. So also having that avoid there as well as a Street Prophet himself avoiding power card.
Yeah.
Now, he could have even just used that 6 energy in his hand as well to avoid that initial 4, as Ty mentioned. Of course, seeing 3 monster energy hits coming across the board potentially as well. Here we go. Morph coming out. Morph playing a 2 may make 2 additional attacks.
I noticed that has to be played on another character because of the fact that it's 2 low icons against one character is essentially useless, right? This is one way to work around these types of low chain decks is make them stack the same low colors on the same character.
Now, following the 2 make additional attacks, of course, both coming from a White Queen. First one being blocked with a 6 power card, then using that Street Profit to very, very nice advantage towards the 7 power card.
Nice.
Noticing Jessica does not have a lot of defense or cards in her hand, she does hold. Oh, she uses the negate on that instead of the avoid. May have the avoid somewhere else.
Yeah, it's on Shadowcat, I believe, in their build. Now, what's interesting here is that all Charlie needs is cards that'll KO Magneto, and I think she's going to have to concede, even if she's up venture and up cards. I think it's just one of those things where spread out damage isn't as effective as targeted stuff.
So Charlie's move here probably going to...
Oh, see, I think that's a mistake because he could use Hydra to fetch a chain out of her sight if he has the Hydra card and KO Magneto in one action here, if she has no cards left.
If she has no cards. Now, of course, she is using AOA. She did just use the 2 make additionals.
True.
So there isn't too many. Now there's the
X-Man 4 multi.
X-Man 4 multi could be a good moment here.
Yep.
Can Charlie realize to use the Hydra card?
Or Power Mimic the 2. Oh, I guess no, we can't grab the 1 per deck. Sorry,
He's looking.
I think that's the card.
He's Hail Hydraing.
Yeah.
So there is.
Oh, he's using that one.
Yep.
So he's got.
Oh, he used the 1 per deck.
There he goes. Okay, he found it. He did it a different way than I would have, but he may not have the Hydra card in his version of the site. But he does get the KO. Now that's a big swing. This is going to essentially leave Jessica with Beyonder. It's not the worst case scenario, but.
So now that's a really big swing, especially because Beyonder does have an 8 placed on him on Jessica's side, which actually
that's not playable.
Is unusable. And that last play was
that's
an illegal play. So, of course, losing Magneto, she did not have access to an 8 on her grid and was not actually able to take that power card off Beyonder. Now, it looks like Charlie actually allowed it, took it, and lost the venture for that. So
yeah, I think she needed that to win venture as well. So
I think Charlie will take that moment as a huge lesson to continuously look at the board and figure things out in the future. Now, in this situation, he's going to hold advantage again. He's killing his own Jane. Now, she is killing her last character other than Beyonder, so Beyonder will hold the stats of White Queen on Jessica's team.
There's the big issue, though, with Beyonder in this case on her side is the fact that allies and teamworks are also unplayable. So there is still going to be a lot of punishment that Jess can dish out, Charlie is going to be able to dish out that she's going to feel because she's left with just that character.
However, due to the new rules, as long as those allies are playable through the grid of Beyonder currently, she will actually be able to hold all teamworks and allies as bluff cards moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know what. I'm not going to comment on that, actually.
And of course,
I think that is confirmed, but I think it's definitely in this battle because it's the current battle. So, but I'm gonna buy my tongue on what.
And of course, here we go. She does have Dark Beast placed, which does have an acrobatics. So she does have the ability to lock off her last character, potentially just needing to get one hit across the board to give herself the win. And of course, seeing that JW and not a lot of negates remaining on his side of the board. As a matter of fact, I don't believe there is a way he could block that JW other than with a power card currently, as he does not have any negates, used his Hydra card to draw from her site, or to draw from her dead pile, and of course no longer has a negator on his team. Now he does have Beyonder, he does have access. If he did get a X-Baby's negate in his hand, he could have still used it. He did not have one.
But this is exactly the situation that I was kind of warning about, where when that 3 intellect is for the KO, she's at the very least going to be able to make him burn teamwork follow-ups that will punch through the acrobatics.
And as you can see, if Charlie was able to recognize that that 8 was not playable, the 8 would still be placed on Beyonder right now, thus not even allowing Jessica to place a power card to move forward, thus giving even Charlie more advantage in placing a war chest in forward movement.
That's a dream event at this point, because he doesn't really have access to any other types of universe cards other than allies, and that's a rough pull.
Big stopper for Jessica. Does she take advantage, though, knowing that she is probably slowly running out of battles to try to swing this game back her way? Now, of course, Charlie holding in a decent position here, because even if he were, again, to lose X-Man, Beyonder would maintain and hold those stats for him.
Yeah. His Beyonder permanently has an 8 now, whereas Jess's Beyonder has permanently a 7.
Now, Jessica looking like she is pushing here for the win. Charlie getting to draw his card.
Now, that card is a very big double-edged sword, because he just drew the X-Man lockout. And if he's not paying attention, she could power mimic that card and just reinforce the lockout that she has setting up right now.
Thus, potentially with a power mimic, Jessica could have 2 lock-off cards for her character. Using one right now as the acrobatics, she is attempting to lock off her character.
Oh no, and I believe that is a Jane Foster. Is that the avoid? So I was just remembering Jane Foster as a KL, but I don't think it's playable because it's a 1 per deck.
Correct. It is a 1 per deck. She has been KO'd, so she will not have the opportunity to do that. Now, I imagine here he's going to lock his own character out.
Now I think it's smart because she's already locked out. And he does get...
In this situation, he does get to avoid. She must discard 1 card from hand. It is her choice. And discards 1 of her 4, may make an additional attack.
Yeah, I think he played that a little 1 turn prematurely. I think he should have played his 4 first, his 4 multi, and then played that avoid, because that's also a way to stop anything that's higher than a certain numerical value as well.
Now, again, the only way he'd be able to play his 4 multi is on Jessica's battle site currently at the moment.
I don't think he has any way to punch through, but can he stop everything is the question.
So in this situation, as you can see, if he would have, in the other hand, used the Hydra to go into her battle site instead of her dead pile, he would currently still have that Hydra available right now, most likely getting an X-Baby's negate from her dead pile, thus stopping the lock-off that is occurring.
I mean, he's directly playing this, though. He might actually get, if he squeezes out the tie, that's a massive win. That's about, I think she's out of gas after this if he can pull this off. I mean,
and of course, having a Hydra avoid at least underneath.
So yeah, he has the Hydra avoid. I think he's managed to at least tie this.
She does have 1 card remaining in her hand.
So now the correct thing to do is throw an attack on the battle site. Or why he passed.
He may elect to pass.
Okay, yeah, he passed. That's fine.
Hydra using the avoid, and it looks like Charlie able to pull out.
Well played.
A draw here.
Yep, that's exactly what he needs. That's as close to a win as he's going to get if he can't actually just win it right away. Because I don't think there's Now, if she gets her no cards at the word teammate event, on top of that would just be a dream event for her.
And of course, that is often how things would play. There is an event about to be played.
I think that might be the only one left.
We may be reading the tea leaves, as they say. No cards with the word teammate allowed to be played. Thus, of course, eliminating all teamworks and allies. Thus, bringing it back down to a 1-for-1 card.
Oh, and I was just looking at Charlie's hand with that little Iceman. Would have been so nice last battle. That's just a rough draw. Because that's the other thing is he's got another pure KL in that deck, which is huge.
Now, Charlie, of course, understanding he's going to have to play this hand out. Jessica doing very well in not actually discarding a lot of cards.
No, that's been the big deal. And, that's...
I think the big turning point in this game was if Charlie would have recognized that 8 was not allowed to come across the table and win that venture round, he may have actually been in a much better position at this point in the game and actually just have Jessica on her back heels, ready to almost essentially lose this game.
100%.
Now, with Jessica venturing for the win, I'm not sure I would have necessarily shown the X-Babies avoid. I think I would have maybe just held that as an even more opportunity to just maybe sneak and avoid through.
I'm mistaken too. She can't play Power Mimic because it's the 1 per deck. So technically he doesn't have to. I've been worrying about the Power Mimic as far as what specials I would place Fire Charlie, but he doesn't have to be concerned about that at all because there's no card. I don't think Power Mimic can turn itself into a non-1 per deck and be playable.
And if I'm correct right now, that is probably the last morph that she has under her deck. So we will see if she actually plays a Power Mimic and if Charlie allows Beyonder to play a 1 per deck. Again, always take these moments as we are sitting back watching this game. Easy to pick things out. When you're in the heat of a match, when you're in the heat of a game, simple little moments can just pass you by and cause you huge swings in your game. You must always be studious when playing.
100%. It's the sharper player that's usually going to have the edge for that reason. Wow, those new rules with those JWs are really affecting its ability to be defended. That's the second one negated just this game.
And really huge too, as a lot of his defense does rely on special cards.
Now, this is going to be a must defend, I'm assuming.
This looks like a 6 energy. Discard 2 cards if successful.
Probably would have played the 5 instead because I really like that 6, but he might have a different reason that he might want to force the 7 off that I'm not aware of.
Well, I might have actually played maybe the Doc Samson 7.
That's a good point. Yeah,
using the 7 to avoid and then playing the 6 next, hoping that at least the 1 card I see that she can avoid it would then get sort of reaped away.
In some ways, though, he also has the avoid draw, which is okay.
Wow, Jessica actually concedes the round, giving Charlie a big swing back, both in card advantage as well as venture. Looks like Charlie trying to pull this game out as it pushes towards the power pack. Let's see if his deck has enough attrition to take out Beyonder on the other side.
Yeah, he's played a lot of his battle side juice, but I think that the setup at this point, there's only going to be so much that Jess can do to kind of stave off the inevitable here. Oh, that's a rough duplicate. But.
At this point, I imagine all teamworks would just be monster cards coming across the table. And of course, having first initiative from Charlie would just be big, big, big.
Now, he does have to be careful because I actually see a Khazar. I think it's a 4 combat or 4 fighting in his hand that is actually unplayable. Which a lot of people don't bank on those little power cards because of the fact that they just assume there's enough. They're not in this situation that often with Beyonder, but that's he caught it. Okay.
Caught it just as he was playing his first action and venturing. Charlie is excited. Charlie is excited this round. He actually caught the 4 as well. Pushed it out. So it looks like he did venture 2.
In some ways, that's not the worst thing to happen. That can remind you to slow down and take your time, and that could prevent further mistakes or more devastating ones from happening later on in the game.
Teamwork, follow-up.
Because he's played a very good game so far. They both have, actually. Other than that one mistake that was played, I said, but that
happens in all sorts of games. So other than that, the strategic aspects of the game have been very well played.
Very tight, very well played on both sides. Again, looking for this final advantage to take this game home and give themselves a decent record coming out of this third round.
Yeah, I think the one thing that Jess is going to review when she's like checking out this game is going to be that whether or not you want to play that last card, if there's a risk you could lose a character to a chain. That's always one of those. Most of the time you're going to be safe, but there's going to be those times, especially against stronger players, where they're going to set you up to hope you're going to make that play just to knock out one of your key characters. They'll have options, especially against battle sites.
And as we mentioned, of course, I will tell you as well, what Tyler was just referencing with all of that is that, of course, as Jessica continues on in this game, she will just have to understand those moments where if you give up that one attack, as he mentioned, great players will always look for those advantages. And in that situation, you can see we both called out two different ways that we actually saw Charlie could have string killed Magneto in that attack. So always understanding that thinking about what your opponent's next move is, not just what your next move will be.
Yeah, especially when you're both playing Beyonder decks that tend to chain. I think just the probabilities of that happening would be higher, even if his is going to be a Jane Porter build. Now this gets rough for Jess too, because now she does have to throw into that avoid discard, and there's no way around it. And that card is pretty brutal if if Charlie has any left in the deck.
At this point in time, 4 multi coming from Beyonder. Blocked with a 5. And of course, allowing his teammate to die, he did understand that all those teamworks are no longer viable.
That's a bit rough.
Using the 7 to avoid. Now, again, understanding that maybe he might have actually wanted to save that 7, throw it in his own direction. He is looking for venture here, and he's running out of venture cards to do it.
Now, I believe there is a Doc Samson 7 that could be in play as well. And I think he's got Black Widow left, which is either the pure void or a 6. Or it could be a 4 as well. It could be an 8.
This round is going to come down to the last few cards.
Yeah, I think Charlie might not have enough to pull this out here.
4 multi. Now she is looking through her sight, realizing she actually can't use the morph.
Oh. She doesn't have the avoid intellect?
No.
Oh.
And there's the 6, making it 8-8 if it hits. Tying the venture, leaving them, of course, that 6 - 4 being avoided by the avoid. Thus, now let's see the Doc Samson. Should be the 7 intelligence.
7. Oh, he's got the 4. It's a KO shot.
Oh.
Does that do it?
Oh, wow.
That could be the game.
That could be the game. Charlie looking for the KO shot.
Might have been assuming that she could play. Oh, she does try to play the Power Mimic.
And Jessica doing a second illegal Beyonder move here. Using a 1 per deck on Beyonder as the Power Mimic. Charlie, that's twice now. Your attrition should be focused a little bit more. You are playing.
You want to test the legs of your deck.
You are playing Beyonder yourself, and I think this is going to be one game where you are going to learn a lot of lessons from across the board.
Now, if they did rationalize this, I can understand not knowing the rule about like if this turns into a non-1 per deck, is this playable? I believe it's fairly. I'm 99% certain that that's not viable.
It is not playable. That was an illegal play. A 1 per deck is not playable by Beyonder.
I think he won anyway.
He did.
Unless she KO'd his last.
Yeah, she just finished him off the other way around.
Okay.
So Jessica pulled that game out, and fantastic.
You're right. Okay, that was
Fantastic play by Jessica. Of course, never giving up, continuously playing. Now, it is on both opponents to keep game state correct. So if Jessica was playing those thinking she was making legal plays, it was Charlie's action to actually catch those and stop those from being played. Now, as you know, through all the listening you've done with me in the podcast, if you are ever under a situation, especially in a tournament where you are unsure, never hesitate to call the judge. In both these situations, it would have been easily figured out. Now, again, we watch these games after and can catch all of these. When you're in the middle of a tournament, on for your tournament life, these are a lot harder to catch. But great game both ways. It looks like Charlie still has a little bit to learn when it comes to, maintaining gameplay and looking across the board and understanding what your opponent can do, not just your cards. What are your opponent playing? Any final thoughts, Ty?
Yeah, I mean, we did see him get a little rushed with the one action in the one battle too, where there was the Forgotten Venture and playing the unusable for himself. So, I mean, this does happen. There's pressure in tournaments. This is part of why we encourage people come out, get the experience. The more you do this, the more it's easier to your nerves aren't so much in the forefront where they become an obstacle for you during games. And the more situations like this you play, the better you get at recognizing it. And yeah, you beat yourself up when you get home if it's something obvious that you feel like you should catch, but that's part of it, right? It's why players tends a lot of times to be the experienced players that tend to do well because they've played the games. They know what it is. In UFC or something, they call it ring rust or, the cage or something else that rattles people. So OverPower, it's just pure experience, and that's pretty much it.
So play. Thank you for joining us in round 3. It's been Tyler Bertrand and myself, Marcel, and this is the OP Cup. We look forward to seeing you in round 4.